says, we're up to commandment number 7, and it said that he wrote, it is, do not commit adultery, lotin af, right? You're not allowed to commit adultery. What does this mean? How does this apply to us? Do you know a Jew who is an adulterer? It's not so common. Okay, maybe a little bit, but it's not so common. Says, again, it means that what? Engaging in forbidden relationships, along with murder and idolatry, we know is a cardinal sin. But we know there's a lot of accessories. There's a lot of connections to this Averah that we do have connection to or have ability to avoid. For example, mixed dancing, right? The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, there was a guy who was sick. What was he sick? He was love sick. He had the desire for a certain lady. Doctor said if he's not with his lady, he's going to die. So the rabbis told him, better that he should die and not transgress. Right? So then the Gemara said, let him at least see her. The Gemara says also, better he should die than to go and see her, in an immodest way. Let him go schmooze with her privately, and let him calm down because of that. The Gemara says also, so you see, not just the act of intimacy, even the accessories, things related to it, also has a status of yareg al yavor. So therefore, a person has no mixed dancing. Also, it's related to immorality. Also, a person has to treat it just as serious, right? You go to a party, you go to Yoshua. Who can you hug? Who can you kiss? You can only do this to your parents, right? Or to your grandparents. Now, a person cannot do it cannot go and hug and kiss his cousins or his aunts, right? Or people who are slightly related, for sure, someone who's not related to you at all. It's a sur. The Rambam says, is lo tikrav legalot ervata. The Torah says, you cannot what? Your sister, person can go and give a pat in the back, handshake. Once they're older already, a person cannot hug them. Also, and it's in the what's called definitely not in a public place, right? So a person has to know that only grandparents and parents, and then or your kids or your grandkids, this is who you can hug and kiss on the cheek, but everyone else, but Rabbi, they're going to get upset. They're going to say, what, I'm chochke for you? Well, you cannot give me a hug and a kiss. I mean, I raised you. I'm your aunt. You have to explain to them, let's do a big mitzvah together, There was a friend I had, he had an appointment in an interview in medical school. And the dean was a lady, and he's a Chabadnik. So they said, hi, how are you? The dean said. And he said, I'm sorry, I don't shake hands with ladies. So she said, what is this? She was like a feminist. And she said, what, ladies are dirty for you or something? Like, what? He said, no, in our religion, women are very holy. You can't just touch them anytime you want, Oh, I like this. Women are very holy. All about how you present it, all about how you explain it. If you explain to them, we're going to do a mitzvah right now of keeping what the Torah says, lo tikrav legalot ervata. We're going to do a mitzvah together, big mitzvah. It's going to give a lot of nahat ruach to Hashem. Women are very holy. We can't just touch them anytime. I like this. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but if you tell them, no, I saw grezna, so then they get offended. They don't understand. It should be that they should keep it regardless, but you have to know how to present it, how to inspire them to do it. So, if a person has to make sure, men have to guard their eyes. A lot of times we go to events, and you don't want to be a sprinkler. You know a sprinkler? Like this, back and forth, back and forth. Person has to be careful not to fall, especially the single guys. All these people are dressed up very nice, and you go there in Huppah, you see all these ladies. Chas v'shalom, the person has to guard his eyes. The person's gonna go, and he knows he's not gonna guard his eyes. It's mitzvah ba'avera. I want to be sameh hatam kala, but I'm doing all these averot on the way. What is the worth of the mitzvah? Person has to make sure that he doesn't fall in this.
Before the wedding, they go for too far, only for men. So,
ladies has to dress modestly. They cannot put people in a stumbling block by staring at them, right? People sometimes dress as if they have no arms, no legs. They forgot they have arms and legs. You have to dress and cover them as well to the knee. You have to have kalgotki. You have to cover the elbow. You have to cover to the collarbone. Not too tight. You cannot see the curves. Person has to make sure. So now what? A lot of times, Nisim again says it's very sad. Where are they modest and where they look disheveled in the house? They look like a trapka. But then they go outside just to kill the other person's neshama. So what happens? It's supposed to be the opposite. You're supposed to dress like this for your husband, And outside, you look modest, you look less. You don't want to attract so much attention. Why do you have to dress for everybody else? The husband says, you never wear your wig. You never wear this nice clothing when I'm with me. Only when you go outside. It bothers me. Why? So the person has to know this is all part of lotin af. All part of the accessories of not committing adultery. So therefore, a person has to make sure that when he does business, a lot of times he does business, and ladies around him in business are not dressed modestly. The saleswoman, the person he's selling to, the people, the employees he's around. The Gemara says you cannot gaze at them, even if they're dressed properly. Even if they're dressed properly, you cannot stare at them for the direct pleasure. The Gemara says, whoever stares at a woman, he hands woman's coins. He's paying her because he bought something. He's paying her. He's giving her coins. But why did he do it? He didn't want to buy a chocolate bar. Why is he buying the chocolate bar? I wanted to see this girl. He pays her to look at her, to gaze at her. Even if he has Torah and mitzvot like Moshe Rabbeinu, the Gemara says, Hashem will take him to judgment for this. As the pasuk says, hand to hand, evil will not be exonerated. Pasuk Mishlei, hand to hand. What does it mean hand to hand? When you're giving the money hand to hand to see the lady, Hashem not forget. Hashem remembers, and He took you to judgment for this. So therefore, a person has to make sure not to fall into this trap of excusing yourself. Oh, she has nice nails. Oh, wow, she's a nice figure. You have to wake yourself up. You say, "What are you doing?" But she's no, Rabbi. What's the big deal? God gave me eyes to see, Rabbi. No. Person has to know that if you stare at her nails, even the Gemara says, it's as if you looked in a private place. It's the same thing. That's why the pasuk says in the jewelry minyan, this week's parasha, that what it counts the same jewelry of the ring and the bracelet, the necklace with the kumaz. Kumaz is the jewelry you wear over there to show you that if you look in either place, it's the same. The Gemara says about Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. He one time went to a fork in the road. He went to a road and he saw two paths. Which way do they go? He saw Bruria over there, Mary Balanessa's wife, and he said to her, which way shall I go to Lod? Which path goes to Lod? What did she say? She didn't even say hello. What did she say? She said, Ibi, how do you say this? Right? A foolish Galilean, foolish man from Galil. Why? Don't sages say, Al tarbesi hay meisha? Don't talk too much with a woman. You should have said, which to Lord. Why did you say, which path goes to Lord? Too many words. Say, which to Lord. So you see how she gave him a rebuke. Even talking too many words with a woman that you didn't have to, it already starts the path to immodesty. Person has to deal with a woman. Do what you have to do. Speak to them. Bare minimum. There's a famous story. Well, maybe we'll say next time. A guy, he ended up saving a lot of money. Why? In his business, he never spoke to anybody by first name. Everything by last name. Mrs. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, to keep a distance. He didn't want to get too friendly with his employees. Because of this, in the emails, he always wrote Mrs. whatever. She got an email one time from a scam that said, send money to this account. And she called the boss. He says, why you call me? You always make transfers, never without calling me. He says, I saw in the email, you didn't say Mrs. So-and-so. You called me by my first name. It was weird. So I wanted to make sure. Because he made sure to make sayag la'erva, to make a protection for erva, they saved him from a lot of a loss from a scam. Baruch na'olam, amen.